This is Mike Franklin, the property tax guy, and today we're going to talk about assessors trespassing on people's properties. Um, Entering and photographing and measuring without authorization. Um, I have the Killdozer as my background still because, well, today's Martin Luther King's birthday, but I'm also considering it Marvin Heemeyer Day because Marvin sacrificed himself for for his convictions regarding the treatment of him by the his municipality, and so I condone what it is that he did, but I understand, as Chris Rock once said, and he felt that he had exercised all his recourse options, and this is what he had left. The amount of anger that was in him. I understand it took him a year to build this thing. And so it wasn't a spontaneous thing. But anyway, to the trespass issues, I was at a Board of Assessment review hearing in the town of Spafford, and which is in Onondaga County, east side of Skinny Atlas Lake. And they had a big screen TV on the wall, and the assessors showing pictures of my client's property to the Board of Assessment review, and it had the angles that were made it perfectly clear that the pictures were taken from on the property. I asked the assessor, "Hey, where'd you get those photos?" And he says, "Well, my assistant took them. He went over on the properties and measured and took pictures of all the properties in the revaluation that they did." And I go, "Really? That's interesting." And he says that they'd written a letter to everybody in the town saying they were going to do that, but they didn't get individual authorizations. And to me, that's criminal trespass. Now, it's not trespass with warning, so it may only be a civil infraction, not a crime. It's not a crime until they have notice. But it shouldn't be necessary for everybody to have a no trespassing sign on their property. Can you imagine every residential property in the state has no trespassing signs all over the properties? It'd be ridiculous. It's kind of implied. They have the ability to knock and talk, just like the police do, and knock on your front door. But the curtilage is protected, and well, they trespassed, and I find that to be outrageous. And I discussed the matter with several of my clients, and disappointingly, they weren't interested in doing anything about it. I couldn't do anything about it because I didn't have legal standing because I didn't own property in that township. But it's just disappointing that people won't stand up for their rights, and they just let their rights be eroded away because they do nothing about it. And this is just an absolute outrage that they would trespass on every single property in the township. I just don't know who they think they are. I don't know who the supervisor thinks he is. I don't know who the town board, who they think they are, that they think that this is appropriate. But this is the United States of America. This isn't North Korea. I mean, what do they want to do next? They want to go in your house? And so I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that's outraged by that. But to me, it's completely insane. And so I'm celebrating Marvin Heemeyer Day. I don't condone what he did, but I understand. And, we have constitutional property rights, and these people think they can go on your property whenever they damn well please. And it's not right. And that particular assessor is now the assessor for multiple towns. So I'm expecting that for each of those towns, when they do a revaluation, I know he does Marcellus, that they'll be trespassing on everybody in the town of Marcellus's properties. And, I wish they'd come and trespass in my town. In fact, I did have a trespasser in my town I don't own a piece of land, Oswego County, and the code guy walked about 50 yards back on my property and placed a business card, without my authorization. And I found out he had a pistol permit, so it's pretty obvious he entered my property with a gun. And he walked right past the no trespassing sign. It had to have brought, the only entry was to go past this very large sign that said no trespassing, and it revoked his implied license to enter the property. So the police and the fire department can come on the property if there's an emergency, but that's it. The sign revoked their implied license to enter the property. So it's I wish I had to do that over again. I didn't really know the trespass laws at the time, but I do now, and it's not right. When when an assessor trespassed on your property, the first time, it's a civil matter. But once you give them notice and they do it again, that's a criminal matter. And to me, what they did was criminal across the town. But anyway, I don't know if everybody gets as upset about this as I do, but it's just we're supposed to have constitutional property rights, and they think that they can go on your property whenever they damn well please. It's an outrage. So I don't know what more there is to say about it. I wish property owners would stand up for their rights a little bit more. And I'm willing to help them in any way it is I can. If that's what they if they have an issue with this, I may be able to help. This is Mike Franklin, the property tax guy.